Hi, I'm Kyle,
I'm John.
and today on JM2 Digital Talk, we're going to be talking about the concept of evergreen, what it means, and how it's really not a mint or a tree, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, it kind of is, but in this case, it's not. So, just to kind of get started with that, sometimes you'll hear people say evergreen content, an evergreen video, an evergreen article, just something that's evergreen. And it seems like people don't quite understand what that means, or they're a little confused by what the term is. So, why don't we explain to them what exactly evergreen is?
Well, evergreen content is content that has nothing to do with current events, dates, times. It is something that will last over the test of time.
Right. It's basically content that also kind of doesn't limit itself to a specific time period or time frame, or really information that isn't limited to a specific time or area. It's something that can be seen over and over. It's something that can be shared over and over and still remain relevant. You can watch it today, you can watch it 2 years from now, and it'll still have just as much relevance because the information will be the same. And it's actually preferred, or it's kind of looked upon for companies and businesses and just people in general to create evergreen content, right?
It definitely helps on your search engine optimization because you got to think, you might have customers today, but hopefully in a couple of years you also have customers that are going to be asking the same questions.
Exactly.
If it's time sensitive, people see that you're starting out with it right now and it's, say, 2017, that's a bad thing. Or if it's 2016, because the content's always going to be changing and evolving.
Or even something like, week 52 or the February 2017 edition of Digital Talk. It's something you want to avoid those, right?
You want to kind of avoid that. I mean, yes, you're making a series like JM2 Digital Talk, but you want it to not say, oh, well, I'm watching episode 25, when they're like, I didn't see the other 24.
Right.
They should just be able to jump in at any time without worrying, oh, I haven't gone through that entire series.
Right. Each one, more or less, is a standalone. It should stand on its own. I could jump in at episode, again, we're not saying it, but, I could jump in like on the 50th video and still be just as aware as if I jumped in at the first video from the ground level.
Absolutely.
And that's an interesting thing, too, because I know there's several social media sites that they do video, but it's not as much of, recording a video and then showing it like you would on YouTube. It's more of just capturing it live and in the moment. And I know we talked about earlier, there's some pros and cons to that as well. And while it may not necessarily be evergreen, there are certain situations where it may apply.
Well, if you're doing a live news feed, it's beautiful for.
Yeah.
Because people can actually watch it in real time. And after the news feed, somebody might go back and look, but most likely they're not going to because they're not interested in what happened 6 hours ago or a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Unless they're doing maybe a research project for school.
Right. And I know, for example, on Facebook, like you can do a Facebook Live video and it'll save the video and you could use it later. And so it never goes away, but it's just the fact that the information you're capturing in there may not necessarily be timely.
Well, it's live at the time and it's pertinent right at the time you take it. And you say, all right, we're at this location. What happens if that location goes out of business?
Right.
I mean, that's the downside to live, but even if it isn't live, I mean, there's still ways for it to go out of, maybe where you recorded, the business went out of business.
Right.
But realistically, if you do the evergreen, it's probably not going to be live, and it's going to be something that's recorded.
Right. And, I think that has something to do with, too, just the outlets that you just have available. I mean, if you're going through Facebook, you're only locked on Facebook. If you're going through Twitter, you're only locked on Twitter. Or, even Periscope, you're locked on Periscope. But if you just make a video, like an evergreen video, could be shared on anything. And it could be shared specifically for each platform.
Well, you can, even if it's live, like Facebook Live, you can stream it to multiple locations. But you have to know your audience. Are they looking for something live, or are they looking for valuable and quality content?
Right.
And it doesn't matter if it's live or not.
Right. So what I'm getting out of it, and I think the message you're trying to send is there's really not one in and better than the other. They both have their advantages, right?
Absolutely.
And it just depends on the area that you use it, how you use it, and really what your audience wants out of it.
Absolutely.
So in that case, would you recommend maybe going with both if possible in
Well,
certain situations? Or?
In certain situations, definitely you could go both, but you have to know your audience, not only just today, but what is coming down the road. Maybe today it's live, but then coming down, you want the pre-recorded,
Right.
where it's more evergreen, or
Right.
maybe vice versa.
So you need that sort of knowledge and foresight and just knowledge of your audience. So just keep that in mind, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Got it. Well, that's been very informative, and this is not a Facebook Live video, but this is something that we hope is evergreen and will be evergreen. So with that being said, I'm Kyle,
I'm John.
and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. See ya.